And we welcome you inside American Airlines Arena after this 102-90 Heat victory over the Indiana Pacers that leaves Miami with a commanding 3-1 lead in this Eastern Conference Finals. Barry Jackson with Joe Goodman. Amazing tonight that after Indiana was thoroughly outplayed, the Pacers started complaining about the officiating after the game. Paul George said there was home cooking. David West pointed to new rules in this game. Bizarre that they would cite that as a factor after they were thoroughly outplayed tonight, Joe.
Technical foul for Frank Vogel, technical foul for Roy Hibbert, complete meltdown for the Pacers. The series is over. You know, it might end up being the Heat in 5 games, and that home court advantage that the Pacers worked so hard for this season, you know, poetically, it looks like the Heat might close them out on that home court.
It sure looks that way off the 2 games here in Miami. Chris Bosh obviously was due for a good game at some point. He had gone 7 consecutive playoff games against Indiana without reaching double figures. He reached double figures by late in the first quarter tonight, finished with 25 in the game, and LeBron spoke afterward about how that was an emphasis for him to get Bosh involved early in the game. And when Bosh is hitting his outside shot, it obviously makes Roy Hibbert chase him. Hibbert completely ineffective tonight, 0 for 4 from the field, 0 points. Surprised at all that Hibbert did nothing after dominating the Heat so often in the past.
Yeah, well, I'm not really surprised with how inconsistent Roy Hibbert has been, because throughout the postseason, that's kind of been his MO, and even in the last, few weeks of the regular season. What I was surprised about just was how easy it was for the Heat to completely take Indiana out of this game. Early on, Bosh started hitting those shots, and it was like the air completely went out of the Pacers. From that point, it was just a matter of how many points the Heat were going to win by, in my opinion.
And it didn't help matters that Lance Stephenson couldn't at all back up his bold words of the past 48 hours. His sign of weakness comment about LeBron did not go over very well. Paul George was critical of Stephenson for saying that both on Monday morning and after the game tonight. David West said it was a mistake to give the Heat bulletin board material. LeBron said he smirked at the comment, but he said he wasn't particularly fueled by it or motivated by it. Stephenson said after the game tonight that he has no regrets about making the comment, that LeBron was motivated, but that he probably would have been motivated regardless. Lance didn't play well tonight, though. 9 points in the game, 8 of which scored in the final 6 minutes of the fourth quarter. Anything else you take away from tonight's game, Joe?
The free throws were the biggest thing. 30 free throws for the Heat, 34 attempted. The Pacers only made 11 free throws. That was the biggest difference in the game. Those turnovers early really hurt Indiana. And, coming into this season, we thought Indiana was going to be a better team. Well,
yes.
They're not.
That's a great point. They just don't look ready to surpass the Heat, which so many people anticipated, including Charles Barkley, who said on February 20th that Evan Turner was going to be the difference, and this would guarantee the Pacers making the NBA Finals, which of course seems laughable now. But they simply don't look ready or up to the moment, which obviously will disappoint Pacers management and will surprise a lot of people around the NBA.
Oh, now you're getting into that area where, Frank Vogel might lose his job.
Oh, no, I didn't suggest that, and I don't think that's going to happen. But the case could be made. Perhaps they've gotten the most out of this team. Their bench is not very good. The Heat's clearly had the better bench in this series. You can't underestimate what Norris Cole has done. And remember, Miami did this tonight, Joe, without Chris Anderson, who's been their best bench player in this series for the most part, aside from the one game when Ray Allen hit the 4 threes in the fourth. But is the Heat just clearly a better team after watching these 4 games, in your opinion?
After watching the last 3 years.
Yes.
Nothing's changed. What has changed?
Exactly.
I mean, the Heat's better than the Pacers are this year. And coming back to the point about the upper management for the Pacers, maybe it's Larry Bird's fault. He brought in all the players in the middle, Evan Turner, Andrew Bynum, and from that moment on, the Pacers were a different team. It was like a crisis, on the team every single week.
Yeah, great point.
They totally didn't have any confidence after that.
Exactly. Turner's given them nothing in the series. Danny Granger would have been better to have around, not only for his play on the court, but he was a good locker room guy. So you wonder, now the only question is, does the Heat close it out Wednesday night in 5, or do they bring it back here to Miami to close it out in 6 on Friday night? Regardless of when this series ends, and regardless of when the Western Conference series ends, the NBA Finals will not move up. The finals will begin on Thursday night, June 5th in the Western City. For Joe Goodman, Barry Jackson, thanks for watching.